Well, good morning from just north of Bonham, Texas, 64 miles from my front door. We're at BoDark. My first time ever here. Did not talk to a soul. I actually was expecting, it's funny, it doesn't look like I expected it to. I thought I'd see a lot more standing timber up here, but there's not. There's obviously a lot of standing timber in the lake, so we're going to figure out how to run around out here a little bit. But by the way, I've got the white stuff on my lips. I've had several guys ask, and I appreciate it. So, you know, they cut a big hunk out of my lip. I had 13 stitches. It was a pretty good look right there. But it all came back as no cancer. So very happy about that. And my first video is a 62-year-old. I also say thanks for all the well wishes, especially on Facebook. Amazing how many people said happy birthday on Facebook. So thank you for that. I didn't get a chance to say thank you to everybody yet because there was a lot. But you know, I came over here. I've been wanting, this could easily become my favorite lake. If nothing else, because it's so dang close to the house. I had an opportunity. We had our Texas Freshwater Fisheries Advisory Committee meeting Monday of this week. So the Park and Wildlife folks were there. It's there, obviously. Inland fisheries is part of Texas Park and Wildlife. It's a division. And I didn't realize there had been multiple 4-year-old 10-pounders caught up here. So there's a chance we're going to see some giants come out of here. Probably not this spring, but certainly the following spring we may see some monsters coming out of here. So being this close and being somewhere I could sneak to, you know, and still get a part of a work day done, I want to come up here and scope it out. So what I did do is I went, and there's another video about how I did this, but the map is not great up here yet. I was told by the Garmin folks that they'll be mapping this lake sometime early next year, I think. But I got on Google Earth. Obviously, since it's a freshly flooded lake, there's really good imagery on Google Earth, and I have downloaded a whole, and there's gonna be a video about how I did this, but I've downloaded a whole bunch of stuff. And basically what I looked for was ponds, roads, anything that looked like it might be a hard spot, buildings, trying to find old foundations. There was a couple of big houses on the south end of the lake, which I'm sure there's some rubble left there after they either tore down or moved those houses. So we're just gonna go fish a little bit. We'll pretty much stay offshore, I hope, and see if we can get some bites and show you guys a little bit of fishing fun today. So stick with me, we're gonna go check it out, and I'm not roaring off into the sunset because I'm going to have to familiarize myself with the lake on my map a little bit better. But let's check it out. Let's go fishing. There's a bunch of really good looking stuff when you look at it on Google Earth, but just to save you a little bit of work that I did, so the most recent Google Earth images are from October of 21. Matter of fact, this is something I saw looking on with my side scan, and I'm like, what is that? Well, I went back, and in October of 21, it's that, and it's actually appears to be a log pile. It's almost certainly got to be something that they piled up when they were building the lake. But just to save you a little bit of effort, so October of 21, the lake is currently at 531, and in September of 21 is the only data I could find. In September of 21, the lake was at 510, so about 21 feet below, and that kind of measures, I think the top of that log pile was about 16 feet deep. So after I looked around, several things on what I'm going to call, I guess, the west side of the lake, which would be the upper reaches of the lake. I wanted to run up the lake, and here's where I ran, and I'll actually show you as I did it right here. So the white line you see on the map on the right there, that is the highway bridge going across the upper reaches of the lake. And you can see what I did here is I ran up. Now I ran up the left side past the operations center for BoDark Lake, and caught the main cut up there, and you can see it was about right at 4.25 miles to where I went to. I ran, and by the way, so there's buoys up there which will be handy when the timber starts falling, but right now you can go on Google Earth and you'll see it's clean cut. I mean, it's huge. It's 100+ yard wide boat lane until almost 3 miles probably up there. And that's actually where I went to. So you can see I idled through that timber where it says Timber Creek in the middle. I idled through there, then I idled through that other timber line, and then I idled all the way back to that big pond. So a real pretty eagle up there. And that's as far as I went. And then I'll tell you, so the really cool thing is you can pull out your phone and pull out Google Earth, and since you're looking at the lake 20 feet down, you can kind of see exactly where you were. I went right to this pond even though I hadn't marked it because I hadn't planned to go up there. I went right to it using Google Earth. And it's pretty cool. It's fun to learn, and then I ran my way back down. Appears to be the end of the line. Well, I've spent out here about 8:30 and it's about 1:30, so I've spent a pretty good part of the day. I had 49 waypoints that I had pulled together in the last couple of nights, and I committed to myself before I came here 2 things: don't fish till you see fish, and don't bag it and go shallow just to get a bite to try to get video content, because I have been known to do that. And I've idled all but 2 of those waypoints, and I've thrown on 1 of them. I'm just not seeing any bait deep at all. There's a little bit roaming. I found one spot where there were some fish up roaming. I could see them, and there were some pretty good sized fish. So I tried to scope them, and they kept biting my tail off, which I'm almost certain are gar. That's just something I've experienced in the past. When there's gar, they'll bite your tail off. So I will say this: I cannot remember the last time I went somewhere and never caught a fish, and would love to come back tomorrow. Tomorrow I would definitely go shallow, and I'll be back up here in the next week. I don't know when yet. A little bit of cold front. I talked to a couple of locals, and both said they bit really good Monday, and they haven't bit good since. So I guess it's cooled off just enough to kind of compliment ahead. There's a big group of Canadian geese right there, but I'm almost out of time. Sarah's got some stuff at the church tonight, so I'm going to have to get out of here pretty soon. But I come all the way down the dam. We're on the dam. There's a little point coming out here. I'm going to fish this little point, and I'm throwing a Ned with a little panorama. And let me tell you something: if there's one up there, they will eat that thing up. But again, I don't have a lot of time, but I did exactly, I wanted to be, I came to sightsee. That may sound silly, but I really wanted to get a sense of what was here and not go into one creek and spend all day in one creek. So I've really seen kind of end to end of the lake. It's not a huge lake. I think it's 11 or 16,000 acres. It's not huge. It's 6 or 8 miles long. I will say what I was really pleased with, from, you know, I was looking at old Google images and I thought the lake was going to be timbered. There's lots of timber lining the shoreline, but it's easy to run around on. I've not spooked myself at all. It's deeper than I expected it to be. It's got beautiful watercolor. A lot of the stuff, and I think that's part of the challenge I've had today, a lot of the stuff that I marked, especially the old ponds and the old road beds, it's 25 plus feet deep, and I don't think there's a lot of, if I'd have been here probably a month ago or back here in 3 months, I think some of those spots would have fish on them, but they don't right now. So, you know, again, I'm really excited to learn this lake and spend some more time up here, but this was not the perfect day to do what I wanted to do, which was to try to catch them out deep. But you know what, that's all about learning a lake. And again, I was not hung up on catching fish. Mostly I wanted to learn and get comfortable with it. If I was coming back tomorrow, I know exactly, there's a little pocket I saw, this is where I'd start. There's a lot of flooded brush, and I saw some fish moving around shallow, but I purposely stayed away from that stuff because I was kind of hoping to catch a big one. But I'm gonna fish a little bit more, and if I get some more bites, I'll share with y'all. If I get a bite, I'll share with y'all. I've had a couple bites, but I think they were gar. We're gonna get back on the road, get home, and take over with the boys, and let Sarah get over to church and do what she's got to do for the committee. So. Well, I've gone to the little panorama, and I've had 3 or 4 bites on it, but they're just thumping it. They're not holding on to it. It has not held one fish hold on to it. I didn't look to see. I haven't seen anything really that looked like sand bass. I don't think you can build a reservoir in Texas and not get sand bass in it. I haven't seen, you know, the big schools of them anywhere. Even the few times I've seen shad. But that's what those bites feel like, either that or big brown, because it's, you know, it's only a 2-inch bait, the one I'm throwing, or maybe the 2.8. It's a smallish bait. But I just had one knock the fire out of it right there. What I'm doing is I'm taking a 6-inch net hook and just nose hooking that little dude. He just bounces along the bottom. He looks really good. I played with him in a pool to get a sense of how I wanted to rig it. But they'll bump it, but they won't get it. Just have donk. See if I can get one to bite it here. It's surprising how fast it sinks, even with a small little weight on it like that, because the body of the bait is slim and not very long. It's not terribly buoyant, floaty. Hollis says, "Daddy, your face is too spiky." Spiky. You know, I started to call some buddies and see if anybody wanted to take off wingstem fish with me, but I just needed some quiet. And I know a lot of you guys get that. You just need to get out and not listen to music, not listen to news. The phone rang a few times today, but not too bad. I called it getting my head screwed back on. If you didn't marry a woman, let me rephrase that. If you're single and you're going to marry a woman, make sure she's okay letting you have some quiet time. Because whether it's in a tree stand, where a lot of my buddies are, probably starting in about the next 45 minutes, or bowling, or flying a kite, playing horseshoes, or cornhole, fishing. It's really, really important. Get out, get your head screwed back on. We're at the dam. The dam's 200 yards that way. 250. That's about how far I got 3 wood. And it's back underway. So by my measurements, it's about 6.5 miles, 7 miles from the bridge to the dam, and at its widest point, it's about 2 miles wide. Got a lot of deep water structure, but it's deep, and a lot of shallow water. A lot of wood and water. I didn't see any grass. Well, that's not true. I did see a little bit of that tangly grass that grows on top of the water. Just a little bit up the river when I run up there to look around. But again, I've not been below the bridge shallower than about 18 feet, so I really couldn't say comfortably what's down here. I'm the length of the lake, and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright guys, so this is 4x. I'm going to pick it up to 8x here. So this is the miles from the dam, which I just showed you a second ago, back to the ramp, or right near the ramp. And you can see it's just pretty much wide open. So remember, the Google images you're looking at are 21 feet ago. So there's really no timber out in the middle of the lake. And now I'm going to slow it back down and show you kind of the boat. It's the first time I've really put my foot in it. So this is wide open, and I'm going to talk to you in just a second about the performance I saw out of the boat today that really surprised me. Let's pick it back up and get to the end here. You know, today, so this is a little bit sad. The motor's got 20.9 hours on it. We got it in April. It's October. So it's 6 months old, but today is the first time I've really been able to have a stretch of decent water where I could let the legs out under it. And I was really thinking that the lynx was going to be faster than the puma. And today, coming down the lake, I had it trimmed. I had the Bob's jack plate lifted about the same spot, about 2 to 3 that I had run my links at, and I was turning 57 and change and running about 70. And I started playing with it, and when I lowered it, it took off, and it ran 75.2 with basically almost completely full of gas, but one guy and empty live wells and about 80 degrees out. So 75-degree water, not perfect optimal conditions. As I remember, under perfect conditions, I ran the link 76.2. So I think I could either drop to a 23, which I have, I've just not put it on, or get a little bit cooler weather, and I think optimal conditions, this boat's going to be faster. I think it's going to be 66, 60, 70 miles an hour, 66, 67. Now, interestingly, the boat is low 70s, completely tournament loaded, 71, 72. It's just not, I didn't think I could find that little bit extra, but now I'm curious to go back and run it full tournament load, putting that jack plate in the dirt, seeing how much speed I'd pick up. So we'll get a chance to play with it some more this fall, as we're going to get a little more time in the boat and a little better conditions to run it in. But that's the first time I've really wound it up, and it performed better than it had previously, just based upon the way I was running it. So there you go. Well, at the end of the day, I ran back to the ramp and I realized I had about 15 minutes, and I pulled up over here on the bank and I pulled out a little Strike King, whatever this is called, caffeine shad's what that's called, which I still had it tied on from OHIV. And about my first or second cast, I had one swim off with it and I missed him. But that tells me kind of what I suspected, that there's probably some fish shallow biting. I'll get back down here, and unless the weather changes dramatically, I'll probably spend the day shallow. I'll rig the fish shallow. I would rig the fish deep today, and that's, you know, again, that's what I came over here to do, to learn the lake, learn some offshore stuff. And saw some stuff I'm interested to fish in the future. Sorry about that super close up, but they weren't on it today, which is fine. Got my head screwed back on. So